Hello and welcome to the Latah Valley Fiber Co podcast. My name is Tiffany. If you're new around here, thanks for joining me. If you've been here a while, thanks for coming back. I have a finished object and some works in progress that I'd like to share with you, as well as a tutorial on how I do color work in my cuffs on my socks. So I'm going to have that posted at the end if you want to stick around for that. Otherwise, let's go ahead and get started. You can find me on Instagram at Latah Valley Fiber Co. You can check out my shop, latahvalleyfiberco.etsy.com. And if you want to direct message me, lvfiberco@gmail.com. So let's go ahead and get started with my projects. I have socks and what else? I should have organized this a little bit better. Let's start with my goodness. Okay. Well, they're all out now. Our basement remodel is finished, so all my knitting is downstairs, except for some random stuff that I have up here, but mainly it's downstairs. So I had it all in a tote to bring up. Okay, let's talk first about my finished object. Now, this is a pair of socks. It's a child-size pair of socks. We had, for Father's Day, we had some birthdays to also celebrate. And in there, I was surrounded by a bunch of girls. They're my nieces. And Nana, their grandma, was opening up her gift from me, which was a pair of socks, and they all turned their heads and said, "Aunt Tiff, I want a pair of socks." So I've started on that as well. And now this is the girls, 3 of them that are getting dresses for their birthday in November. This pair is for Izzy. She asked for a purple pair of socks. So I had some leftover purple and decided that that would be good for her. So I used the measurements from the Rye Socks by TinCanKnits, but I didn't do the panel on the top. I just knit. So for their, this is a free pattern by TinCanKnits. For their, it's not toddler, child size, you were to cast on 52 stitches. So that's what I did. I cast on 52 stitches up here, and then I knit a cuff 1 by 1 for 1 inch. And then I just started I knit 2 rounds in the main color, which is the multi-colored purple. And then with the cuff color, I did that every 3rd round and just once. So I had plenty to do the one pair, or the one, but then I ran out for the second. So I finished not even half of the second sock. But, you know, I don't think she's going to care. They go together. So I knit these just stockinette for 6.5 inches. So from the cuff to the toe decreases is 6.5 inches. I didn't put in a heel because I don't actually know what foot size they are. So I thought, well, these will work just fine. They can slide them on, slide them off, turn them this way or this way to get them on. I may next year, depending on if they like these, I may next year go ahead and do the heel and just get a measurement for their feet. That would be helpful. So then I decreased on the toe until there were 10 inches or 10 stitches on each needle, 2 needles. And then I bound off, sewed the toe together. So the yarn is scraps that I've used in multiple different projects. I even think I have a pair, this purple was in a pair of socks I made for myself. I did use the 2.25 millimeter needles, which is pretty standard for me in the circular. So these knit up really fast. This pair is for Izzy, and I think she'll really like them. So I have 2 more to do. And then the older girl, which is not part of the quad group, she will be 6, I believe, in August. So I'm going to knit her a pair. She wants a different color. So I have 1 more purple pair to do, and I think I'm going to use this purple that I'm working on my other pair of socks with, because I'll have plenty of this left over. I'm almost done with the pair. So I'm going to go ahead and do Emma. No, Ava wanted the other purple. So 2 purples, 1 pink. Emma's the pink. And then I'll need to ask Camilla what she wants for her color. So I started these on the 17th and I finished them on the 23rd. They knit up really fast, really fast. Okay, let's go back to the 2nd, June 2nd, since we're almost done with this month. Let's start with what we started with at the beginning. This is the Hopscotch washcloth and towel. I am just doing the towel. It's by Purl Soho, and the designer is Deborah Newton. This is a free pattern on their website, so you can check that out. I'll put some links down below also. The yarn I'm using is Lion brand Re-Up in the Portobello colorway. Portobello, sorry. Needles I'm using, you cast on with 4mm, you do a little bit of a edging, and then you switch to 4.5, which I did do, on circular needles, because you need the long cord in between. This is for the hand towel, 110 stitches across. This does have a pattern repeat. I can't remember if it's 20 rows, might be close to 30 rows before you start repeating the pattern. So as you can see here, I have done, I'm on the 3rd repeat. So this is where I was the last time we chit-chatted. So I've done a repeat and a half, it looks like. I was almost done with that one. So what can I say about this? The pattern is not intuitive. I have to be paying attention to where I'm at, and I mark down on a piece of paper which part of the repeat I'm on. Also, I repeat the repeats a certain amount of time. Can't remember what that is. But yeah, so this will be a pretty good size towel. I'm hoping I may have enough left over to do the dishcloth. That way it could be a set for somebody that I could gift to. So that's been fun. It's cotton yarn, so it's a little bit harder on the hands to do. I don't love it patterning wise, but you know, it's nice to have something different other than socks. Okay, so now let's move on to the socks that I'm working on. And I'm working on 2 different pairs. I have 1 of each done. So this one is for June and this one is for March, this color. So we'll talk about the March one first. Actually, we're going to talk about the June one first. I'm further along, but just barely. So a lot of the Colorwork Cuff Club socks by Summer Lee, they're the shorter cuff. This cuff is quite a bit longer with a big pattern repeat, which is fun. So this is the Colorwork Cuff Club for June from Summer Lee. I'm using my own hand-dyed yarn scraps because I've got a lot of them. Needle size is 2.25 and I used DPNs on this. I cast on 64 stitches, which is pretty standard up here. I knit a 2-inch cuff in 2x2 ribbing. And then I knit 4 rounds before I started the chart. Now the chart only has 1 round and then you start the chart. I wanted it to be a little bit more a defining point between that. So I went ahead and did 4. And then down here, you can see that it's feeding right into my heel flap. I wish I would have done 4 rounds here as well of this color. And anyway, I only knit 1. So, I did increase the needle size to 2.75 instead of the 2.25 for the color work, and I feel like that helped a lot. This really stretched out in the blocking, so it should go over feet and heels just fine. I knit the foot length 7 inches and then started the toe. So that'll fit a size 9 foot, which will be fun. So I have started the next one, and I have it in this bag that I made myself. I have done the color work section, and I've moved on to the heel flap, and oh no, I'm further along on my other pair. Oh well. Oops. Okay. I get distracted with other things. So I've done the heel flap. I've not done the turn. I'm ready to do the turn and then pick up the gusset on both sides. So here's the color work section. It's really pretty. It was a lot of fun to do. Boy, you can just tell. Look at that. Blocking really helps your color work. I talk about that in my little tutorial about the color work. So check out that if you're interested. So I just need to finish the heel and then knit for 7 inches before starting the toe decreases. So I'm almost there with this one. This again is the June motif from Summerly. Okay, I started that set on the 3rd. So could I finish it by the 31st? Probably. Yeah, I should be done with that. Okay, this next set I started on the 10th. And this one is the March pattern, Colorwork Cuff Club pattern for the top here. And the yarn I'm using for this one is by Two Springs Fiber Arts. She's local here to Spokane. And she had gifted this to me. My husband built her a skein winder. And so when she came to pick that up, she gifted me her sock set. It's the Happy Feet sock set. So you can check her out. She is on Etsy as well. So the needle size I used was 2.25 millimeter. I did go up for the color work to 2.75, and I cast on 64 stitches. So these 2 patterns are for women, women's foot. The cuff I did was just 1 inch, and it was a 1x1 ribbing. I did knit 1 round before I started the color work patterning. And this one was a little hit and miss. I knit this and then tried to slide it over my heel and couldn't do that. So that's when I went up 2 needle sizes, and now it slides over just fine. So I did knit it, pulled it out, and then increased needle size. So let's see. Oh, this will fit a smaller foot. I knit from the heel to the toe 6.5 inches, and then decreased for the toe, which is my standard toe that I do. Yeah. Okay, so I finished 1, and I've stopped in the middle of a row. Okay. I must have got distracted. Hubby came home and I had to get dinner on the table. Okay, so here's the color work section. I've done the heel flap, I've done the turn, and I'm decreasing for the gusset. In fact, I think I'm there. So now I can just knit the 7 inches. No, 6.5. Ooh, better make sure. Yeah, 6.5 inches, and then I'll do the toe. So this one will certainly be done the end of this weekend, I'm sure. And yeah, so I'm going to use this yarn for my niece's socks. I think they'll be, it's a pretty nice purple. It's definitely different than this as far as purple goes. This is more of a bluish purple, lots of blue in there, and actually a little bit of pink and gray. So, but I think it's purple enough, I hope. So, okay, I'm still working on those. I started on the 10th. Yeah. All right. That's all I have for you today as far as objects, works in progress, and finished objects. So I'm going to post on the back end here the tutorial on the color work. It was this color work here. So I hope you enjoy that and learn a lot, because I know I did. In fact, I attached the color work and then had to rip it back out and start all over again. So you get to see that. All right. Hope you're all doing well. Happy summer and happy knitting. I'll see you in the next video. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about color work and doing color work on your cuffs, and kind of what you need to think about as you're planning that out, if you should do circular needles or DPNs, and if you should stick with the size that you're knitting your entire sock with, or if you should go up a size or 2. Color work tends to be tighter through this area, more so than your regular knitting or even purling. So there are some things to take into account as you go to do the color work. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the inside and what that looks like as far as the color work goes. You'll see with this that I have 3 different colors: the original color, and then this pink, and a white. So going off of this, you'll see that I have some floats that are super long, and when you're sticking your toes in there, you can catch these. So there's a dilemma with that. How do you manage 3 strands of yarn to make this more doable, a little bit tidier, and less likely to catch these longer floats on your toes? I have this is ready for the color work, so I thought I would go ahead and just walk you through that. Alright, I have my pattern here off to the side. You all can't see it really, but I have my yarns, and one of the things that you're going to struggle with a little bit is yarn management. So do the best you can. I always end up having to untangle, and you know, it's just par for the course, I guess. So this is the pattern that we're doing. This is the Colorwork Cuff Club for March. I think it might be for March. So you've got pink along here with white, more pink, and then the main color as well you're carrying along. So let's go ahead and start. My chart says to knit 2. So I'm going to do that, and then we're going to add in the pink. And there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can do it all continental, all English style, or you can use both hands, and that is generally what I do. I use both hands carrying color in both. I will drop one, but I generally carry 2. So what I have learned is that I normally knit continental. I normally knit continental, and so that means I hold the yarn in my left hand, like so. I'm going to attach this one. You're going to, when you do it this way, and I'm sure with the other you would also have issue, but I don't know anything about that, so I'm going to only speak to this way. When I carry the yarn in my left hand, it's on top. So and you're going to have to snug these up a little bit. It's on top, which means it's going to pop against this yarn. Okay, now in order to grab this yarn so that it's not strung out across multiple stitches, I am going to place it over, see I've knit 3, and I'm going to place it over before I pick that up and knit the 4th. And now you can see that the yarn is caught. So now it's over here instead of over here. Now this first round is really fiddly because I'm adding 2 additional colors. So I've knit the 4, now I need to add white. So this is where it gets tricky because you have to manage multiple lengths of yarn in there's several yarns that could quickly, so I'm going to knit 3, quickly get long like you saw in my other sock. So now I have these 2 that are over here, and I don't generally go more than 4, although I have before and it doesn't work out very well. It gets really, so now it's caught here, and I can then put that back over, and I only need to do 5, so now we're back here. And remember, for me, the main color is going to be in my right hand so that it's on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I went farther there than I should have. So I'm going to back this out. Okay. And then I'm going to lay it over and then knit that 4th one. So now it's caught right here. And these floats aren't very long. That's what you want to watch out for. Okay, so now that was, nope, not quite. I need one more stitch to complete this round. Okay? Apologize if you can hear noise. My son is upstairs trying to do math. Sounds like he's not doing that. Okay, so this is the round, and I just need to repeat that all the way around the sock. And again, this first round's a little fiddly because not only do you have the beginnings of your pattern, but you've got the tails that you have to deal with. So I will show you what I do with that when I come around. It'll be on this side over here. Alright, so let's go ahead with the next repeat. So it's 2 of the main color, and you gotta watch, I'm getting a little far out, so I'm going to bring the white over because now it's the pink's turn. Okay, did I catch the white? Nope, I didn't. Okay, there I go, it's caught now. And now the main color is getting a little long, so we just gotta watch for that. And I've done 3, so I'm going to bring this over, and then I'm going to drop the pink and pick up the white, and just double check, make sure that, okay, these 2 are together. So I'm going to knit, okay, and then bring both of them over, grab the white, put these back, okay, and then I need the pink, 5 white, okay, and I need 4 pink. Now when you turn the corner on DPNs, I have found that I tend to get a little tight there. So I'm just going to make sure that I don't snug it too tight. 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to bring this one needs to go like this. Okay. So see here how they rounded that corner. You don't want it to be too tight there. So just be mindful of that. It's a fine line between too tight and perfect. So that completed the motif again. So now we're going to do it again. So it's 2 of the main color, and then 4 of the pink, and I haven't seen the white for a while. So if you look at this, I didn't catch the white. So I'm going to back this out. And make sure I catch that white on this, because not only was it on a corner. Okay, I'm going to drop the pink, pick up the white, pick up the main color. Okay. Knit the main color. So why not? drop the white and pick up the pink. And I knit 4. Drop the pink, pick up the white, and knit 5. But I don't want to leave these guys behind, so I'll pick those up on the 4th and knit 1 more. Okay, now we got to go back to the pink, which they should all be right here because I have been catching those floats. So we need 4 of these. Okay. I'm actually going to pick them up here on the 4th one. Some people do 5 or 6 floats, and I suppose in a sweater that would be okay, but you wouldn't want to do that in a sock because your toes would catch. Okay, and then we've got 1 of the main color. And that completes that part of the chart. So now we just need to repeat that one more time and then we're back at the beginning. Now I do have all these ends which I like to catch over here. So I'm going to attempt to do that. It's a little bit harder with all the different yarns, but I'll show you that. So you'll see that the white one is over further. I didn't start it until 6 stitches in. So I'm not going to do that one quite yet, but I am going to do the pink. So we're starting the chart over again. So I need to knit 2 of the main. So I'm going to loop this over like that to catch it. And then stick my needle underneath. And 1 more of the main. Okay, so now I've caught the end here, and I need to, as I'm doing the color work, I'm going to scoop under here and do the color work on this side, and then slide my needle under here, and it'll just kind of carry that along. So the next color is the pink. However, the white is getting a little far behind, so I am going to include it in this. Let's see if I can do this right. Okay, so I'm going to slide under, grab the pink, okay, I'm going to loop the white over here, like that. Okay, then I'm going to take the pink. See what I mean about tangled mess? I'm going to slide under here and grab the pink and then bring it up and over like that and slide this off. So this first round is super fiddly. Don't lose heart. You can do it, just one step at a time. Okay, so I'm going to include the gray and the white on the next one. I need 4 of these. I only scoop under every other. Okay, So that's actually going to make this pick up a little bit better because I'm not going to scoop under. I'm just going to knit. Okay, pull that off there. So it's 4. Now I need to do the white. So drop the others, pick up the white, and I need 5 white. So I'm going to have to pick up these at some point along there. Okay, we're going to go under the pink, pick up the white, like so, knit 1, slide under the pink, pick up the white, and then knit 1. Okay, and I'm going to choose to carry along these two on the just knit 1 because it is a little bit easier. Okay, so put them over the top, knit, put them back over, and then number 5, we're going to go under and grab the white and bring it back up. Now, this is getting a little snug, so I pulled this a little bit so that it's not too tight. You don't want tight floats and tight ends. So I did pull on it a little bit. Okay, we need to go back to the pink. And we're going to knit 4. 1, and we're going to go under the pink. And then knit 1. And then under the pink. Grab it. Okay. And then we're going to bring these over. I'm ready to do the Well, I must have messed something up because I have more stitches over here. I should be just there. So I need to go back and count what I did wrong. 2, 4, 5, 4, 1, 2, 4, 5, 4, 1, 2, 4, 5, 4, 1, 2, 4, 5, 4, 1. Why do I have 4 stitches? So I must have made increases here as well as increased my needle size. So I have forgotten about that. So I need to pull this all out and redo it, except for these. So I'm going to pull these out and pick them back up as I go, because that's kind of the easier way to do it. Pull a few out, pick them up. That's the way of it sometimes, you know? You just gotta keep going. Enjoy the process. You'll learn a lot along the way. Don't worry if you pick these up the wrong orientation. When you come back around and knit them, you can pick them up. I'm just going to go ahead and pull this little guy out because he's confusing the situation a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going and doing this all the way around. And you'll see that I dropped a stitch there. It's really easy to pick up. You just do that. And stick it back on. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to continue that around and then pick back up. I need to figure out how many stitches. I think I added in between here, I added, it says 3 stitches, but I'm pretty sure I added an additional stitch to each. So that made this, not only did I increase needle size, I increased stitches in between the motif to help with that. So let's see, I'll meet you back here in a little bit. Alright, as you can see, I've come back around to the beginning. This is the beginning of my round here. And this is how it looks. All my yarn is here at the beginning. It's not languishing back here. This is my white end, which I'm going to, as I pick up and do these, I'm going to weave it in this way. So here's the end of my pink. You can see how tidy that is. These are my yarn over, or not my yarn over, my pickup yarn. So it looks pretty tidy, and there's not a real big one. I think I did better with this than I did with my first one here. I don't think you're going to catch your toes on that. I guess that's what I'm saying. So I'm going to continue in the Colorwork pattern doing this motif, and I'll come back here when I finish up and we'll take a look. We'll compare this first one with the second one to see how well I did on my pickups there. Okay, I have finished the Colorwork on my second sock, and I wanted to show you the end result. Now, the fiddly part of the 3 different colors, the main color, the pink, and the white, was only 4 rows total. So the fiddly part after 4 rows was fine, and then I only had to work with the pink and the main color. So I wanted to show you and compare the floats from my finished sock and the floats from this, which I just had done, because I find that it's very important to make sure that there's not very many stitches in between you catching the floats. So let's go ahead and compare. And as you remember, this float's too long, so toes will catch on that. What I made sure of doing with this one was to catch about every 3rd or 4th stitch that I was knitting. So turning this inside out. Don't mind my ends there that I also was weaving in as I went. So you can see that I don't have a very long float like these couple right there. I was able to catch the floats along every 3rd to 4th stitch. There's nothing lagging through here. So even if it's fiddly, it looks better and it will fit better on your foot if those floats are not long. like these guys here. I'm going to have nothing but problems on these. That one's not too bad, but this one. So, I even went long when I only had 2 colors I was dealing with. This looks much tidier in here. So, I think that's what I would recommend. Pick up your floats every 3 to 4 stitches. I also wanted to just highlight how much blocking helps to even out the stitches. Colorwork is kind of bunchy, and I think you can see here it doesn't look bunched at all. They lay nice and flat, and they look amazing. Here's side by side. They're kind of raised and bunchy. So if you don't generally block your socks, if you're doing color work, I would recommend it so that the first time around your stitches, they don't lay, they'll lay flat and look prettier. The motif will look prettier. So, all right. I hope you enjoyed that little walkthrough on Colorwork socks. Happy knitting!